They say you can sense it when someone's eyes are on you. It isn't something you see. It isn't something you hear. It's something you feel. A weight pressing against your skin. A whisper in the back of your mind that won't let go. And for months, I had been feeling it. At first, I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was tired, overworked, imagining things. I blamed the late nights, the long hours, the endless true crime documentaries. But then the little things started to happen. My keys out of place. The picture frame on my desk slightly tilted. A coffee mug left on the counter when I know I put it in the sink. Small things. Harmless things. The kind of things you almost ignore. Almost. I live alone. 2 years in the same small apartment. It isn't much. But it was mine. Or at least, it felt like mine. One night, I came home late. The city was quiet outside, but when I stepped inside, the air felt different. Thick. Heavy. As if someone had just been there. Nothing looked wrong. But the silence pressed down on me like a weight. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring into the corners of my room, waiting to see someone standing there. I even left the light on. By morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I searched every inch of my apartment. Every drawer. Every closet. Every shelf. Telling myself I was paranoid. But deep down, I knew. And then, I found it. On the bookshelf. High up, between 2 old novels I hadn't touched in years. A small, black device. At first, I thought it was a USB stick. But then, I saw the lens. A camera. Pointed straight at my couch. The couch where I eat. Where I nap. Where I scroll through my phone. Where I live. My hands shook as I held it. I dropped it once, then snatched it back up. On the back, a memory card. And in that moment, my stomach turned. Because someone had been watching me. Not for minutes. Not for days. For months. Every second I thought was mine. Wasn't mine at all. And the worst part? I had no idea who it was. I sat on the couch. The same couch the camera had been watching for months. In my hand. The memory card. So small. So harmless looking. Yet I knew, it held something dangerous. My laptop waited on the table. Part of me wanted to call the police immediately. Another part, needed to see. Needed to know. I slid the card in. The screen flickered. Then, the first file appeared. Dated 6 weeks ago. I pressed play. It was me. Sitting here. Eating takeout. Laughing at a movie. Scrolling through my phone. A chill ran down my spine. It wasn't just that someone had been watching me. It was the closeness. As if their eyes were right behind the lens. As if they were in the room with me. File after file. All the same. Me cooking. Me napping. Me walking around in pajamas. Every little detail of my life recorded. Then one video stopped me cold. It was me, asleep. But I wasn't alone. In the corner of the frame, shadows shifted. A figure stepped into the light. Tall. Dressed in dark clothes. Face hidden. They stood over me for a long time. Silent. Watching. Then they moved. Leaning closer. Their hand brushed my hair. I could see them whisper something in my ear, even through the screen. I never stirred. I never knew. My hands shook as I gripped the laptop. I wanted to stop. But I couldn't. I had to see the last file. Dated 3 days ago. This time, I wasn't on the couch. I was in the shower. The camera had been moved. The angle, perfect. Every second captured. My heart raced. I slammed the laptop shut. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't some creepy landlord. This was someone who had been inside my home. Close enough to touch me. Close enough to breathe the same air. and I had no idea when or if they would come back. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound felt sharper. Every shadow seemed to move. I kept replaying that moment in my head. The stranger leaning over me, whispering something I couldn't hear. I needed to know who it was. And I knew they would come back. Calling the police seemed pointless. What could I tell them? That I found a camera and some creepy videos. Without proof of who put it there, it would go nowhere. So, I decided to get my own proof. The next morning, I bought a small hidden camera. Irony, right? The hunter becomes the hunted. I placed it high on the kitchen shelf, angled toward the living room. Night vision, motion detection, everything I needed. Then, I waited. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal. Watching TV, cooking, scrolling on my phone, all the while, stealing glances at the shelf. Hoping, waiting. 2 nights passed. Nothing. Just me, or so it seemed. On the 3rd night, I left the lights dim. Stretched out on the couch. Pretended to sleep. Breathing slow. Body still. Around 2 a.m., it happened. The faint click of the front door lock turning. My heart pounded. But I kept my eyes closed. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. Each creak of the floor louder in my ears. I could smell them. A faint mix of cologne and something metallic. They stood over me, just like in the video. And then, they whispered again. This time, I heard it. A single sentence. Soft. Chilling. I missed you. My stomach twisted. Before I could react, they stepped back. Disappeared into the dark. The door closed. I sat up, gasping. Hands shaking as I grabbed the camera. If it worked, I'd have their face. Finally, I'd know. But when I checked the footage the next morning, the file was there, the timestamp correct. But the video, completely black. Someone had known exactly where my camera was, and they had turned it off. For hours, I just sat there, staring at that black screen. It wasn't an accident. Whoever had been in my apartment knew exactly where my camera was, and exactly how to disable it. That meant they weren't just sneaking in. They were watching me. Closely. They knew what I bought, where I hid things, maybe even who I trusted. I started thinking about everyone who had a key to this place. The landlord. The repair guy who came to fix the heater last winter. A friend I'd let stay over once, months ago. But the more I thought, the more one face kept coming back. Ethan. We'd dated briefly last year. It ended fast, too fast. He was charming at first. But little things about him had scared me. The way he'd show up at my work, without calling. The way he somehow knew where I'd been, even when I hadn't told him. When I broke it off, he didn't argue. He just smiled and said, "I'll always be around." At the time, I laughed it off. Now, it didn't feel funny. I decided to test something. That night, I texted Ethan. Something casual. "Hey, been a while, how are you?" He replied within seconds. "I've missed you." The exact words I'd heard whispered in the dark. My chest tightened. I asked him where he'd been lately. He sent back a winking emoji, and nothing else. For the rest of the night, I couldn't shake the feeling he was right there, somewhere close, watching. I checked the locks. I pushed furniture in front of the door. Still, I didn't sleep. In the morning, I found something that made my blood run cold. On the kitchen counter, next to the coffee maker. A mug. It wasn't mine. White ceramic. Faded red letters that read, "You're always on my mind." I had never seen it before. But deep down, I knew. Someone had left it there. Someone who had a key. Someone who wanted me to know they'd been here, and they weren't planning to stop. I stared at that mug for a long time. It wasn't just the words. It was the message. Whoever left it wanted me to see it. This wasn't spying anymore. This was a game. And I was the target. I picked up my phone, ready to call the police. But I froze. What would I say? That my ex might have broken in, just to leave a mug on my counter. That I heard someone whisper in the dark. They'd ask for proof. And the only proof I had was a black screen. I needed something undeniable. Something they couldn't explain away. So I made a different choice. A dangerous one. That afternoon, I left my apartment door unlocked. Not wide open, just enough for someone to slip in silently. I set up my laptop camera, angled toward the couch, and left it recording. Then, I waited. In my bedroom. Lights off. Door cracked open just enough to see the living room. Hours passed. Nothing. Around 1:47 a.m., the air changed. A heaviness, like the room itself was holding its breath. And then, the door clicked. A shadow moved inside. Slow. Confident. They didn't go to the couch this time. They walked straight toward my bedroom door. I held my breath. The shadow stopped just inches from where I was hiding. I could see the outline of their shoulders. The tilt of their head. They leaned forward, whispering again. Why are you hiding? Every muscle in my body screamed to run. But my legs wouldn't move. They turned. Walked back toward the couch. And then, as if they knew exactly what I was doing, they reached for my laptop and closed it. The recording stopped. Just like that. When I finally found the courage to step out, the door was locked again from the inside. They were gone. And in the center of the couch, something new. A single photograph. It was me, taken from somewhere outside my bedroom window. I didn't touch the photograph at first. I just stood there, staring at it. My own face frozen in a moment I never remembered. The blinds had been shut that night. Or at least, I thought they had. Whoever took this had been close. Close enough to see inside my bedroom without me knowing. My hands shook as I finally picked it up. On the back, handwriting. Small. Neat. Familiar. I told you I'd always be here. I didn't have to guess whose handwriting it was. I'd seen it on birthday cards. On sticky notes left on my fridge. Ethan. But I needed proof. Something undeniable. Something I could take to the police without them calling it a coincidence. So I started watching him. Not in person, that would have been too obvious. I created a fake social media account. Followed his every move. Most posts were normal. Except one. A blurry photo of a mug. The same mug now sitting in my kitchen. Caption. Back where it belongs. My stomach dropped. That night, I couldn't stay in the apartment. I checked into a cheap motel. Fake name. Paid in cash. Even there, I didn't feel safe. Every car pulling into the lot made me tense. Every person walking by my door sent my pulse racing. Around 3 a.m., I finally began to drift. When my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. Running won't help. No name. No photo. But the timing, the words. It had to be him. I sat in that dark motel room, phone clutched in my hand, realizing something terrifying. He didn't just know where I lived. He knew where I was, right now. Which meant, either he was following me, or he was already here. I didn't sleep. I just sat there in that motel room, staring at the door. The lock was flimsy. The kind you could break with a strong shove. I kept imagining it bursting open, and him standing there. By sunrise, I knew I couldn't hide anymore. If Ethan wanted to play this game, I was going to end it. I left the motel and drove straight to my apartment. The front door was exactly how I'd left it. Too perfect. Inside, nothing looked out of place. No overturned furniture. No new gifts waiting on the counter. It was almost disappointing. I turned to lock the door behind me and froze. There, wedged between the door and the frame, a folded piece of paper. No envelope. Just a note. Tonight. Rooftop. 9 p.m. Come alone. Every instinct told me not to go. But something in me, anger, fear, maybe both, wanted to face him. I spent the day pacing the apartment, checking the time every few minutes. When the sun finally dipped below the skyline, I grabbed my phone, slipped a small kitchen knife into my pocket, and headed for the roof. The air up there was colder than I expected. The city stretched in all directions, lights flickering in the distance. For a moment, it was almost beautiful. Until I saw him. A figure. Standing at the far edge. Back to me. Motionless. Ethan, I said. My voice sharper than I felt. He didn't turn right away. When he did, the dim light caught his face. And he smiled. That same smile from the day we broke up. I knew you'd come, he said. My grip tightened around the knife in my pocket. What do you want from me? He stepped closer. Slow. Deliberate. To finish what we started. The way he said it. It wasn't about love. It was about control. Making sure I knew he could get to me. Anywhere, anytime. I took a step back. My heel brushed the roof's edge. His smile widened. And then, I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around. Another figure was walking toward me from the stairwell. Hood up. Hands in pockets. For a second, my mind raced. Had Ethan brought someone with him? An accomplice? The hooded figure stopped a few feet away. Then slowly, they pulled the hood back. My best friend. Claire. My stomach dropped. What are you doing here? I stammered. She didn't answer. She looked at Ethan. And smiled. It hit me all at once. The times she'd accidentally mentioned where I'd be. The night she convinced me to leave my window unlocked because fresh air helps you sleep. The way she always told me to ignore the strange noises, saying I was just stressed. Claire had been in on it. From the beginning. You should have just listened, Ethan said, stepping closer. We were trying to help you. Help me. That's what they called this. The break-ins. The whispers in the dark. The photo taken through my window. You wanted to scare me, I said. No, Claire said softly. We wanted to remind you that you belong with us. The way she said us made my skin crawl. I backed away, foot slipping slightly on the rooftop gravel. Ethan took another step forward. That's far enough, I warned. Hand tightening around the knife in my pocket. He laughed. Low. Slow. You think you can stop us? In that moment, I realized something terrifying. It wasn't about stopping them. It was about surviving. I shifted my weight, forcing my voice steady. Come any closer, and one of us goes over the edge. They hesitated. Just for a second. It was all I needed. I bolted toward the stairwell, shoving past Claire. Her hand grazed my arm, nails digging in, but I yanked free and ran. Down the stairs. Out the door. Into the street. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. This time, I didn't care if they believed me. I just needed my story on record. Because if Ethan and Claire were willing to play this game, I knew they weren't finished. And deep down, I wasn't sure I'd ever be free.